Okay, so we're going to configure our network, our RSLinx, to communicate with our processors. First of all, in Windows 7, we don't have access to our GUI or graphical user interface if we're running as a service. All of these computers are running RSLinx as a service because we are running a SoftLogix controller, so I'm going to have to shut that down first. So the easiest way to do that is go to All Programs, Rockwell Software. We're looking for RSLinx and Launch Control Panel. And here I'm checking, it says it's not running as a service. It's not running, so we need to uncheck that box, and then we're going to start it. When I do that, I'll be able to access the GUI interface from the taskbar eventually when it shows up. There it goes, it just popped up, but there's a little icon right here that says RSLinx Classic with a little chain and a PLC and a computer. So next step, I'm going to configure my communication drivers. We're going to go configure drivers. You'll see that I have several drivers already running in here. This one has a COM port conflict. I'm just going to get rid of them all. I don't need them. I can get rid of them. And we've got to have that one running. So first thing I want to do is there are two types of Ethernet drivers. There is an Ethernet IP, and then there is Ethernet devices. So the first one, let's see, make sure that, yes. So the Ethernet IP driver will scan your local network and find everything out there and report to you. Doesn't always work that. It works better than it used to, okay? But it's always scanning, and if it doesn't see something, I've seen it skip things, but I'm going to show you how the easy way is what our worksheet is showing us. So we're going to do the Ethernet IP driver. We're going to click Add New. We'll leave the name default, and then we will pick our, notice we have two NIC cards in this computer. We are going to pick the one that is tied to our PLC network, which starts with 172. We're going to hit OK, and then we're going to hit Close. Then I'm going to click on my RSWho icon right here, the three little dots. I can also get to it from Communications, RSWho. That's going to bring up that driver that I just installed, and when I hit the plus sign, I should see it begin to populate with all of the network cards in this classroom. Now I'm going to turn on another processor, and here in a second, it's continually scanning. We should see another processor show up. So after a little bit, notice that we have our three little dots. When you see these three little dots begin to blink, that means that it is scanning. If I close this up and I click on something else, it's no longer scanning. I click on it and I hold this on here for a little bit. As soon as my other processor boots up, hopefully it will find the processor I've just brought online. We'll see what happens. And we're still waiting. You can see it's not all that fast either. Oh, there it is. It found our processor and a PowerFlex drive that I just brought online. And so there it shows up, and that's how we add the driver. Other way you can add the driver, take note that I want to communicate just with this processor, and its IP address is 172.30.1.54. I can add a secondary driver. I can have them both, it doesn't matter. Ethernet devices, add new, and now I can individually type in the IP addresses of the things I want to communicate with. I'm going to do 172.30.1.54, I believe. And so when I add that driver, I can see that it has added the new device here. And notice, since I only typed in one IP address, I'm only talking to this one device. If I want to dig down into that device, I can hit the plus sign. It's showing our compact logic backplane. Here it's showing our slot, our processor in 00. And it's also showing our device net, which is a secondary application level. And so we're going to go down into that, and we can keep digging. And now we can see everything on our device net. I've got a limit switch that's showing up, so I can actually jump networks. I'm going to a device net network through RSLinx just to see if stuff's on there. I only have 2 things on here, and it looks like I have a limit switch and a stack light communicating. If there was a problem on our device network and one of those wasn't talking, I wouldn't show up here. I can actually go in here and do diagnostics on it. There's right click, device properties, etc., etc. I can even go over here and go to module configuration, and I can change the IP address settings. That is something I do not want to do because I'm already talking to it, but I could. There's all kinds of diagnostics in here. You can go over here, driver diagnostics. I can see if we're looking on Ethernet, we can look for communication errors, and I have 0 communication errors. If this number was changing, I would say that I have something going on with my network.